Alrighty, so this is the next demo, demo 4, and in this demo we are going to discuss how to colorize our figure further. So, colorize. That's a term that you will learn more and more about throughout your use of the hue and saturation tool, which can be found under Image Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Before we get there, I actually want to add a background color to our art. So I've made a new layer here, and I'm going to choose a color in my color picker that is really, really bright and higher contrast from our blue, so we can actually play around with the color picker here in a minute. So I'm thinking a reddish orange. Something in this family would be good. I'm going to drop that color in the background with the paint bucket tool, and he looks pretty sharp. This looks pretty much like the pop art you'd expect. Okay, so we're on the right track. Now it's going to be a little bit more entertaining, at least in my opinion. Again, I know that it's been fun up until this point. So I have my entire project selected at this point, which consists of the black outline areas, the midtones, very important midtones, and our colors. So I am going to, at this point, select all of these objects, all of these layers, all 4, and I'm going to make a copy of them because I am all about keeping our art live so we can go back to different layer and make adjustments if need be later on. It's awful to lose that option. So now that I have all of these selected and they're the new copies, I'm going to right click on them and come up here to where it says merge layers. There's a difference between merge layers, merge visible, and flatten image that y'all need to be aware of. To merge your layers is to make the layers that I have selected one layer. You can no longer take the pieces apart. That means you lose the information that's overlapping, and you only have that one image. At that point, it's pretty much just a JPEG and no longer a Photoshop document. Next down is merge visible. That merges every layer. You got it. That's actually visible right now. That means anything that has the eyeball checked on it will be merged together. That would be pointless. It would just merge the originals with the copies. So we don't want to use it. And then flatten image flattens every layer, and it makes it to where every single layer gets flattened and you lose all of the information. So I'm going to merge the layers that has a lot more control. As you can see, it also made it to where it's a lot easier to just kind of manipulate this one layer. So we're going to now come up here to Image Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and we are going to adjust the hue. If I move the slider, then the colors will change in hue, which is great because this makes it really easy to go through different colors and figure out what we're wanting our little guy to look like. Okay, so this is one route. I showed you all this way because I wanted you to see you can create layers that are colored already, or you can do this fully grayscale. So with the fully grayscale version, and let's just look at this one right here. Our fully grayscale version here is pretty simple. Same as our other one, just a little less detail. But with him, what I can do is I could do the exact same steps where I merge the layers after making a copy, obviously. But I would merge the layers, and then I would come up here to Image Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. So, oh, no, I'm sorry. Don't merge all of the layers. I apologize. You merge the layers that will be in color. So that is, I have 3 different layers here. 2 different layers of his outline, and then the background. Let me select all 3 of those, and then I can merge them. and come up here to Image Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. So if I click Colorize on this, I'm actually able to change their color. The downside to doing it this direction is it actually makes it to where they're all different tones of the same color. That's fun, but it's not what we're wanting. So that's one way of using the colorize feature. Another way is to come up here to our different color layers and go one by one. So I have one of them selected, and I'll come up to Image Adjustment, Hue Saturation, and I can click Colorize and make it a color, bring the saturation up, and make it really pop. So we can make it purple. Now I'll choose the next one. So I'm going to Image Adjustments, Hue Saturation, Colorize, fully saturate it, and I'm going to choose a color that's different from the purple so we can see that background line. Whenever I did this file, I actually made a copy of this filled in version of him and just shifted it a few spaces to the left by hitting my arrow keys while having the move tool selected. So at this point, I've done those two, and the last one is just the background. So in Image Adjustments, Color, Hue and Saturation, go to Colorize, and I'm going to bring up my saturation and make it another color that is totally contrasted to the other two. So now that I've done all three, I can click on them, merge layers. At this point, I can actually merge all of these layers. And then come up here to Image Adjustments, Hue Saturation. And I don't have to click Colorize this time. At this point, I can just shift this slider, just like we were doing in the other one, and get the colors that we're wanting. Look how great that is, how easy it is to just change the colors. So that's how to colorize your little guy. I'm going to come back up here to my original one that I was working on. Yeah. I don't want it to show. Okay. Come back up to the one I was working on in this video, and we're going to now see how we can take it into a new file and actually make a set of 4 of him. So I'm going to go to your file, new, and I'm going to just start with a 10 by 10 inch square. I'm not going to keep it 10 by 10 inches though, so that's a good place for y'all to start as well. I can either do this 2 ways. I can actually pull him into my libraries, or I can just go up here to select all, and then edit, copy, edit, paste, or go Control C, Control V. If you're using Mac, that's Command C, Command V. And then I can go to edit, paste. And so we have our guy in our new file, but he needs to be smaller. So I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, holding my Shift key to keep the constraints proportioned. I'm going to resize him. And then I want to teach y'all a trick. There's a way where I can either just drag this to make a new layer, or if I have my Move tool selected, I can hold down my Alt, or if you're using Mac, Option key, and click and drag the layer, and it'll create a new one. So that's pretty handy. I copied and pasted, or I created a new layer of this one a minute ago, and then I'll just, again, hold down Option or Alt if you're using a PC or a Mac, and then I'm going to click on it and drag it, and it will duplicate it. So now I have 4 of the same little dude. That's great, except the artboard is too big now, you say. Well, I'm going to come up here to where it has my crop tool. The crop tool is really easy to use. All of the tools across the top of the bar will help you out a lot. So you can come up here and you can either keep it original ratio, width, height, resolution, etc. I don't really even see it as necessary to have this filled in, because then it makes it to where I can change it by just clicking and dragging. So I'm going to just click this to my image. Make sure that it's always 300 pixels per inch. And then I'm going to hit enter, or I can press the check mark right here. And see, my guys now are all lined up, ready to party. They're like 1 pixel apart from each other, but that's something easy y'all can fix by just shifting them over by clicking on it, or selecting the layer, holding the move tool, clicking the move tool, I apologize, and then hitting the arrow key. So I'm going to do that to that one, and then select both of the bottom and move them up. So now it's a little off, and I'll clean that up by coming back in with my crop tool and bringing it in just that little hairline and clicking OK on it. So now we have 4 of the same guy in the same color. That's not what you want, right? So I'm going now, really quickly, because in the next video I'm going to show you how to add texture. So real quick, I'm just going to show you how you're going to adjust the color. So you're going to go Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation, and just like before, just slide the slider over. And you can do this for each one. The cool thing is you can always go back and make sure that they're more balanced. Like, you don't want it just to look inverted. You want it to be off the wall, crazy colors like pop art. So I'm going to just go through and change these and play with it until it's what I like. I don't know what colors to go with for him. That one's fun. And then the red's okay. Or I could even change the red. That's fun. Okay. So, I actually don't like the purple next to the blue. So I'm going to drag him over here and then get the yellow layer and drag him back to its place. That's more balanced. Okay, so now that I have my file done like this, I can just save it, and that would be completely finished and ready to go. Or if you want to go for a little more wow and pop, we can try the Roy Lichtenstein method and add a little extra texture. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to add texture to either your finished product or in the beginning stages of the creation of your little guy.